are live with my contribution to the vast sea of videos, sea of trans content, coming out stories and whatnot. HRT in particular. This is my 1 year HRT anniversary. I've been on it for 1 year. And I'm gonna talk about what it's done to me. Oh, did I say my name? I'm Alexis. I'm trans. I male to female. I lived as a guy up until about maybe I was like about 38, 39 when I, kind of got lost in the queer content rabbit hole on YouTube and just kind of getting into gaming communities like the Metroid Prime community. Uh, Met a lot of queer people in that community, and just kind of being around queer people and trans people helped me realize that I was trans. I already knew I was queer, but I was formerly a gay man. So, yeah, let me see. Yeah, I started experimenting with my gender probably. It was sometime a little bit after COVID hit. It was probably 2022 when I started like using any all pronouns. And then, let me see, probably by the next year, I started changing my wardrobe slowly, just kind of like getting tighter clothes because, just I was starting to feel myself. I was starting to. God, it's such a long story. I don't. God, it's so complicated. It's so non-linear. But basically, I. Yeah, so I started changing up my wardrobe. I like had an opportunity to start getting new clothes, and I was looking at like femboy shit, like femboy TikToks, and looking at the outfits, and something inside me was telling me that, maybe I could do this, maybe I could pull it off. And just the way I was kind of just where my headspace was at, it was just like, fuck it, why not? So I tried I slowly started getting more femme clothes. Like I started off with like tight boy clothes, which, just kind of like metrosexual type shit. That's like an old word for maybe a notch under femboy. Not quite femboy, but just like pretty, I don't know how else to explain it. Look up metrosexual. Anyway, yeah, I started off with tight boy clothes, tight jeans, tight shirts. Um, and then I tried some leggings. And like while I was looking at the femboy shit, I was slowly working myself up to that point. How you doing, young hookah? Uh, yeah, if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to ask. But anyway, yeah, I tried some leggings and loved the way those felt, loved the way those looked on me. And then I started getting more of those. I started getting thigh highs and, just slowly working myself up to short skirts, the Amazon basics type shit. So finally got a skirt, and then one thing led to another, and then I eventually, started like identifying as a femboy, um, using he, they pronouns. Went down the pronoun pipeline, went down the femboy rabbit hole, and I just, kept femming it up more and more and more until eventually, like, I saw my reflection one morning and I was just like, you're a girl. And God, that's a long story. Because I was kind of like in denial about it. Like I was like holding on to, I was still on that cope about like trying to like disavow gender altogether. Like I was, you know, I was trying to say fuck you to gender norms, but I eventually ended up joining them. uh, what else? So yeah, I eventually started going by she they, so I wasn't a femboy anymore. And then eventually, like maybe a year after that, I think I built up my wardrobe for probably 2 years, like starting in 2022 up into 2024. And I was doing that. I was spending my money on that and getting that done before starting HRT, which I kind of like decided I wanted to start probably halfway into building that wardrobe. So, yeah, I just finished that up and eventually started HRT. When was that? February of 2025, which was 1 year ago today, the 12th. I started off with, let me see, like a zero point 0.5 or a half milligram dose of estradiol. Yeah, hopefully I'm covering up the name, but yeah, this is the estradiol. So I started off with that. They've since upped the dose. Yeah, I started off with like, I think it was it was 2 patches a week, but it was equivalent to one of these. So they basically doubled the dose after probably 3 months. And yeah, so I still take 2 patches a week. And this is, what is it? Yeah, 0.1 milligram, I guess. They recommend putting it on your like lower belly or your lower back, but my endocrinologist told me I could put it on my shoulders and my hips, so that's what I do because it's like the easiest place to put it without it getting in the way of like just it's like an awkward surface on my belly, so like it would end up getting ripped off or easily just like peeled off. So that's where I put them. And I started with how can I, my name is on here. Let me what can I cover it up with? Oh, and then my RX number too, because somebody could like zoom in on that shit and like, I don't know, hack into some shit. I don't know. I don't want to dox myself. Okay. Here we go. Spironolactone. I don't know if you can read that, but there it is. Yeah, I take 2 of these a day. 1 in the morning, one at night. I just took my night one, and I don't think the dose has changed on that. Oh, hey Sam, how's it going? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been voice training for uh probably since mid, or was it mid last year? No, 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 no. It was since probably late 2024, I think. Alright, seed 1, standard. Started off at a lower town. Alright, reset the stream and take a break and then do the next one. I'll be back. Okay, this is Op82. I'm Op82 and I'm submitting a Metroid Dread randomizer run for transmission received. Alright, hello again, I'm Op, and this is my second submission for transmission received. This time I'm doing a custom preset of Metroid Dread randomizer, and this time it will be random start, random door types, random transports, two-way between areas, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you, appreciate it. It's still a work in progress, but I'm slowly getting there. Can be hard, but glad. Oh yeah, yeah. This has been a balancing act for sure. Like, it doesn't always cooperate. It just depends on the day. But yeah, so estradiol, spironolactone. I took those, but with my 1-year anniversary appointment, they started giving me progesterone. Okay, my name's on this one too. Okay, I think it's covered up. You probably can't see it, but whatever. That's progesterone. Oh, speaking of which, I'm supposed to take it at night before you go to bed, and it's midnight 30 over here right now. So hopefully I finish this video before I start getting sleepy. There's not a lot of research, but there's like some anecdotal shit that I, asked my endo about and researched before asking about. So I'll just add in a video clip and edit, I'll do that in post. Alright, here is a brief summary of what progesterone does from Plume's website. I'll put a link in the description. What is progesterone? It's another hormone that can be used during... Fuck it, just pause to read it if necessary. I'll just scroll down. I don't feel like reading it all out loud. I'll put the link in the description, but I'll also scroll and let you pause to read it if you want. So I'll just leave it here for a bit. Scroll down. Nothing too comprehensive. It's just like a brief summary of, information I've gathered over time. And most of it's anecdotal because there hasn't been like much official research on it. There's a little bit of research out there, but you know, nothing too official. But anyway, the spironolactone, that is a testosterone blocker. It blocks the balls from producing testosterone, which gives you male traits. Uh, like, body hair, uh, male body odor. I'm trying to think of shit that I've lost. Let me see. Uh, Male sex drive. That goes down eventually, temporarily. Uh, all right, fuck it. I'll just go through this. This is like a general idea of what I've experienced. Breast growth. Expected onset 2 to 6 months. Expected maximum effect 2 to 3 years. Reversibility permanent. So basically, I started getting breast buds probably 2 to 3 weeks in. I started noticing these knots under my nipples, and like they didn't hurt. Them like when you the knots themselves didn't hurt, but like around them, just the general area around them started aching. Like that was the first thing I started feeling. So I got the breast buds probably a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks in. Got the knots under there. They started aching. And then they started like kind of like I already had some fat around them to begin with because I was like, I had like gynecomastia as a guy. So yeah, I had a head start on boob growth, basically. So maybe they could have hurt more if I didn't have the cushion, but either way, I yeah, probably by, maybe a month or two, I started noticing like some softness just forming around them and, some like a soft mass growing. And by then the buds had kind of dissipated, like, they started turning into the fat tissue. Okay, where's my list? Okay, first week. I was told I would smell different within a week, so yeah, by the first week, I started smelling this kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It was like a weird sweetness, kind of a cross between like maybe some fresh detergent and like some, I don't know how to describe it, but it was like I was smelling it, on my fingers, just kind of like everywhere. It was just on me. I was tasting it in my mouth. It was weird. So, yeah, I smelled different. I had this like weird, kind of sweet, minty taste in my mouth. I don't know if I was tripping, but something was different. So, that was the first thing I noticed. What else? Oh yeah, my balls shrank. That was pretty weird. I mentioned the breast buds. Yeah, my balls shrank. Um, not sure what else to say. Yeah, they shrank. Let me see. Okay, effects list rundown. Back to this. Thinning, slowed hair growth. Face and body. Started about 6 to 12 months. Okay, when did mine start thinning out? Because, like, I started, like, before I started HRT, I was using hair removal cream for body hair shaving because shaving with a razor would just irritate it too much and give me rashes and shit. So yeah, I was using hair removal cream until eventually like there was one time I used it and it burned my skin a little more than usual, which was kind of like a sign to me that I should probably stop. And when was that? That was probably, God, I can't remember. Maybe a month or two? 3 months? I'm not sure. But it was, I'm gonna say 3 to 6 months. I noticed like the hair removal cream just burning me and I had to stop using it. And I eventually switched back to my electric razor. And somehow, like, my hair wasn't as coarse when it grew back. It wasn't quite as itchy and just like rough. Like I could still feel the stubble growing back, but it didn't like get caught in the fabric of my, clothes, my leggings, or what have you. And it would just like it wasn't as scratchy as it normally would have been. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll stick with that. And like eventually, like just week by week, it started the irritation just went away, and I was able to shave, with the razor. Like, okay, I was getting the effect that I got from the hair removal cream. I started getting that with the razor, which was the shave lasted longer. Because the hair removal cream would like probably keep me smooth for up to like 3 days before I started feeling stubble. And when that started burning me, the razor ended up having that same duration, which was like 2 to 3 days before I started feeling it grow back. And week by week, it would like eventually, 2 to 3 days would eventually be 4 to 5 days, eventually a week. So now I can go up to a week without shaving my body, and it still feels fine. And by this point, the hair is like really thinned out, and you could barely even notice it grow back. Like, for example, I haven't shaved my arms in probably 2 months, 3 months, and normally, like, you'd be able to see it, but you could barely see it on camera. Like, this would have been way more visible before HRT. It's almost like peach fuzz now. And I could see it, like it's fully grown, but it's like barely noticeable compared to what it used to be. Even on my hands, it's like peach fuzz. So yeah, that's basically the body hair growth situation. I've also heard that it helps hair growth, like accelerate head hair growth. That may or may not have happened to me. Like, I can't say for sure. I could be tripping, but maybe in the last 6 months, it's probably grown a little longer than I expected it to. Because, like, it's past shoulder length now, but it was kind of like shoulder length for a while there. Like, up until maybe last fall. And then, like, it kind of had a growth spurt. Now it's like, down to my, upper titties. So, yeah. I don't know if it looks like any different. I hear people say that it like just makes it like gives it a fuller color or some shit like that. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But it might have grown a little faster lately. But I'm not sure. So, what do we got next? Softening of skin, decrease oiliness. Onset 3 to 6 months. Maximum unknown. Oh yeah, this is reversible. By the way, the body hair growth that's reversible if you get off HRT. Softening of skin. I'll get into that when I get into the long version. But yeah, my face skin has definitely softened. Yeah, you'll probably see examples of that later. I don't know if my hands have, like, my hands are kind of dry and a little damaged from the cold, so it's a little hard to tell, but they are less veiny than they used to be. Like, I used to have, like visible veins. Like, you can't really see them anymore. So, I guess that's progress. I don't know if the textures change, but yeah, they are less veiny than they used to be. Um, the skin right here is definitely softened. Like, it feels like a baby skin, honestly. Like, my torso skin has softened a lot. My lower body skin has softened. Can't show you any of that, but you could just take my word for it. It's yeah, it's like, fuck it, I'll just say it's like a baby's ass, smooth as a baby's ass. It's like an old saying. But yeah. Oh yeah, the body hair on my chest. Like, I used to have a lot of chest hair, and now it's like even as it grows back, it feels more sparse than it used to be. Like, I'm not really feeling much like fuzz. And I shaved it probably, what, 3 days ago? Yeah, off of HRT. Before HRT, like, I would have felt something by now. There would have been like stubble, and it would have been scratchy, and my my under boob crease would have been scratching with stubble, and it would have itched. Like, it would have been terrible. So it's definitely helped in that regard. What else? Oh yeah, my face is less oily, for sure. Um, like, I used to wash it every morning and, like, to try and get the oil off, but Like, I haven't noticed that much anymore. Like, it's always dry. Not like dry, but just like not oily. Um, I have heard that, I have heard of skin dryness from other girls, but I've only experienced that like up here in my head hair. Like my scalp has been dry, it's been really itchy, and I've been scratching it a lot. Of course, my hands have been dry because they've been exposed to the cold when I'm outside, and my legs are kind of ashy right now. I haven't used lotion much this time of year because I don't like exposing my skin because it's cold in here. So I usually moisturize the most in the summer. So yeah, like I've been getting dryness in my hands, scalp, and like lower legs, basically. But on the upside, my face is less oily and it's smoother and it feels nice. Oh, and let me see. Stubble. It is 50 past midnight right now. I shaved this morning, and by now I would have felt like I would have had 5 o'clock shadow by now. And I could just barely feel like you have to concentrate on feeling it. Like it's really like if you just rub your just kind of casually rub the face, like it's barely noticeable. So my facial hair has thinned out a lot too. It hasn't really slowed down. Like I still have to shave it every day, but there's less to shave per day. Like when I open up the when I open up this part right here, less comes out now. And it looks mostly like dandruff or just like skin that I exfoliated off. I haven't noticed any like hair. Maybe because the hair is like thinner and like less dark. So either way, point is it's less. So yeah, okay, I lied. It has slowed down, but not enough for me to like leave it for a couple days. Like I still have to shave every day, but slowly but surely, decreasing. So that's good. Where are we? Body fat redistribution. Onset 3 to 6 months. Full duration 2 to 5 years. Reversible. Yeah, my face fat is redistributed. Like my jaw used to be a little more square. My face has gotten rounder. My cheekbones have kind of filled out. It's hard to describe how, but I think my eye shape has probably changed. I know my lips have gotten poutier. Like I kind of have an underbite now, or what looks like an underbite. It's not an underbite, but my bottom lip does this now. Kind of like jets out. Didn't used to do that. It used to be more like a little more pulled back. I can't do it, but um, what else? Oh yeah, I think I've like my stomach is flattened. Like, I used to have a gut that kind of like protruded out, but
See?
it's gotten flatter. And like, I don't know. I think like the belly fat. Like, I still have love handles. I still kind of have like some, fat around my waist, but I think the fat is. I think some of it went to the chest, and like some of it kind of like just filled out the face. So I look thinner. Like my neck is thinner. It seems to kind of like this part seems a little bit thinner than it used to be. Um, my side profile is thinner. I did lose some weight because I was working out, but like since starting HRT, like I feel like my side has kind of thinned out, and I'm starting to get a little bit of curvature here. Uh, Thighs have gotten a little bigger around here. Like, I don't know, it's just more of a pear shape than I used to have. Starting to fill out a little bit down here. You know, still got a double ass, but the bottom ass is filling out. So it's like it's less box shaped. It's like starting to pear out. If you get what I'm saying. Uh, yeah, I think that about sums it up for fat redistribution. I'm probably missing some shit, but whatever if I, forget some shit that I forgot to say, I'll just add it later in post. Decreased muscle mass and strength. Oh, yes. Decreased upper body strength. I definitely have had a little bit of that. It's been subtle, but it's like subtle shit like opening jars and what else? Like, yeah, just opening shit. Why is that the only thing I'm thinking of? There was one other thing that I thought of, but it just like left my head. What was it? I don't know. It was some shit you do with your fingers, like lifting cat. I don't know, just subtle stuff like opening containers and stuff like that. Has been harder recently. Like it takes a little more effort to, do stuff. Haven't really noticed like lifting things getting heavier. I did shovel some snow recently, and this could have been due to the fact that a lot of it like hardened up into ice, but it was a little bit harder to shovel. So I'm not sure how much of that was the snow itself or me just being weaker. Probably a little bit of both, but I've noticed subtle kind of signs of lower upper body strength, or decreased upper body strength rather. Decreased muscle mass, I'm not sure. I Yeah, like I look a little bit thinner in some places. Some of that could be due to decreased muscle mass. I can't really tell, to be honest. So I'll move on. Decreased sex drive. Expected onset 1 to 3 months. Maximum effect 1 to 2 years. That was minimal for me personally. Like, I used to go from masturbating probably like at least once a day. Now, or I went from once a day to every other day. Or no. Wait, it was at least twice a day, wasn't it? Like once in the morning, once at night. So I started off like masturbating once or twice a day, and then it went down to like maybe just once per day after a month or so. And it stayed like that probably until the last 4 months. Like my libido drop came later than most girls report. Most girls say it happens to them like immediately, but for me it was just like it just, it just got to where like, less per day was enough. So I still did every day for a little while until about maybe the 6 to 8 month mark where I just started like it just stopped being urgent, Like I could go a few days and just like not really give a shit. So yeah, up until like I started progesterone, it was basically like every other day, and it just like it wouldn't be like on my mind. It wouldn't be an urgent need to have to relieve, you know, on a regular basis. It was just like I'll get around to it when I get around to it, and that'll take however long it takes. Like I'm not really worried about it. So it was a nice break from having like that extra step in your day. So uh yeah, it was moderate. It wasn't really that extreme. And I can still get there. It just takes some conscious effort. So yeah, I guess that about sums that up. Oh yeah, progesterone. That is supposed to increase your sex drive, among other things, like helping with breast growth. Um, I haven't noticed either of those quite yet. Like, I have noticed, like, maybe a little bit of, like, sensation, like, in other parts of my body than my dick. So, like, when I have been aroused, like, I've been able, like touching myself in, like, my upper body, like, it would, like, give me feelings. So like sexual arousal, it's starting to become like a fuller body thing as opposed to like a strictly dick area thing. But it's still subtle. It's like, it's not really nothing to write home about yet. It's just like really subtle, and it's still working it's still getting itself flowing. So it's still in the early stages, what I'm trying to say. Uh, but yeah. Oh, and before I move on, progesterone. The only major thing I've noticed with progesterone so far is I've slept better every night since I've started taking it. I've I've needed less sleep per night. Like I used to feel like fully satisfied at about 8 hours, but I would sleep on average for probably 6 hours. So I would always feel like I underslept most of the time. But with progesterone, like 6 hours sleep has been enough, and I've just woken up feeling, just well rested, where I normally would have needed 8 hours for that. So that's been a good thing. But, any other effects are pending, I would say. So, this decreased spontaneous erections. Yes, also in conjunction with the lower libido. I I don't really get spontaneous erections anymore. Like, it takes conscious thought to get them now. Or the occasional euphoria boner. That happens sometimes, but yeah, like it doesn't just like, you know, respond to a, a gust of wind anymore. It's just like I have to think to make it happen. And that, that was kind of around the same time sequence as the decreased libido that I explained. Less firm erections. Yeah, yeah. I probably can't top anymore. But I wasn't a top to begin with, so that's fine. And that's all variable, that's reversible. What else? Decreased sperm production, reduced fertility. Variable, variable, possibly permanent. I don't care. I don't want kids. So that's not a problem. Decreased testicular volume by 25 to 50%. Yeah, I mentioned that already. Onset 3 to 6 months. Okay. That was different for me. I noticed that within the first couple of weeks. Probably within the first week. Along with the smelling different. Also, smelling different. Along with that weird sweet smell, my body odor, like, it went away. My male body odor just, like, totally went away within the first week. By the second week, from that point, I wore the same outfit for 5 days. Didn't change deodorant, didn't like wash my armpits for that whole 5 days. And by the 6th day, it was just like a little bit of something, and it was sweeter. So yeah, like it's probably not flattering. It probably doesn't reflect well on me, but basically you can go longer without showering. Like, I still wash my lower body, but I still wash my lower body every day. But I wear shirts in the shower sometimes because I'm lazy. That, like, I don't stink from that anymore. It takes me like longer to stink in my upper body, so I end up changing, like, I end up washing my upper body probably probably twice a week. I know that sounds, it's not as gross as it sounds, I promise. Because, like, once you get estrogen in you, like, you just be like going for as long as you can, and you're just like, 4 days, still nothing. Like, what the fuck? Even in the summer, it would take a while. So, like, you could go longer without deodorant. You can go longer without washing, and, like, it's just like stinking up is a much slower process, and it's like mild and sweet compared to the male counterpart. So that's me personally. I'm just a nasty bitch. Don't take me as like an example of how to, like, do your own hygiene. But yeah, that's me personally. Decreased body odor. Um, that is a common effect that I've heard. You just stink less, and it takes longer to stink, basically. So, cessation of male pattern baldness. No regrowth. Loss stops 1 to 3 months in. Lasts for 1 to 2 years. Reversible. Oh, decreased testicular volume likely permanent. Don't care. Cessation of male pattern balding. Reversible. I didn't have that running in my family to begin with, so that's not applicable. Wait, that might be a lie. My dad, he started balding probably in his like 50s and 60s. Like he started receding, like, past 50, when normally guys start receding like in, their 30s. So it could have got me. Like, maybe I was just still too young for it to happen. But yeah, I never had any issue with that, so not applicable. So that's the end of the list. What else can I think of that wasn't trying to think of anything else that wasn't on that list. Already talked about progesterone. I talked about breast growth. Did I say enough about that? I guess I'll mention with the breast growth. Obviously, I can't show you my breasts, but they've grown. You just take my word for it. But they hurt. They ever since they've started growing, they've like always hurt to some degree. Not too bad, but it's like it's been like a aching and a soreness, and they're really sensitive. Like anything that grazes my nipples will hurt. Like anything, you name it, from like picking up a pile of clothes when you're doing laundry, uh, purse straps, seat belts, turning over in bed, grazing your nipples with your lower arm like that, swatting at gnats, doing that, and like grazing your nipples like that. Ah, God damn it. Yeah, that hurts. Hugging people hurts. Uh, uh, Bumping into like doorways, that can hurt. Uh, what else? I don't know, tugging at your shirt too hard. Ow. Like anything. Like, it's just really sensitive. Uh, oh, and my nipples got pointier. They got pointier. Um, the areolas haven't like grown yet. I'm assuming that'll happen with progesterone, but they have gotten pointier and bigger. So I get it. Like, at first I thought it was just like a weather thing, like, girl nipples would just like harden up when it's cold or something like that. But they're always like that. At least mine are always like that. You remember Scream 1 when Rose McGowan walks into the, it's not the basement, it's the garage. She walks into the garage, you can see her nipples in that like one iconic shot that everyone probably knows what I'm talking about. Now I get it. Now I get it. It probably wasn't cold out there. Her nipples were probably just like that. Like, pointy nipples are just a thing. Like, when they started growing, that was like that was, yeah, that's a thing. So, is that enough? Yeah, I don't know what cup size I am. I haven't measured my cup size. I wear sports bras. Um, I can, I can, I can get a full handful now, but I honestly couldn't tell you what cup size I am. I don't really care either. I just want them to keep growing, and I want big nipples. I want big areolas. So, we'll see. Time will tell with that. What else? Effects not mentioned on the list. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? There probably is, but I can't think of it right now. So, where are we? Is that enough for the short version? Yeah, I think that's all I can think of for the short version for now. So I'm gonna move on to the long version, and we are going to start the slideshow, starting with childhood photos. And there's me on the lower left. That's me as a baby. I don't know if I was below 1 or over 1, but I was an infant. Uh, there's me again. Black and white photo. That's my dad holding me in midair with his legs while, like, showing off his he's kind of a bodybuilder back then, or he's a fitness guy, so he's pulling off one of his feats there, and I was like freaking out. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, that's my dad holding me with his legs. This was preschool, I think. It was either preschool or kindergarten. I'm not sure. I think we still lived in San Francisco at that point. I had to be like probably 3 or 4, I'm guessing. Probably about the same age there. Had no idea I was trans. I don't have the typical story where, like, oh, I knew from the moment I was born, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know. I didn't know until late into, like, way into my adulthood. There were probably signs, but I didn't notice them until, like, retrospect. But we'll see if anything rings a bell. There's my 5th birthday. This is probably, what, 1987? Yeah. Here's my dad again. It's me blowing the candles out, or at least trying to. Probably took a few attempts, because they're still lit. Here's my mom. There's me. And I can see a resemblance. I used to look more like my dad. Yeah, if you look at my mom, this is her in her, like, probably early 30s, I guess. So, I'm starting to get her cheekbones a little bit. Just kind of, similar, similar look type, for lack of a better term. And we swapped hats there. There's that classic 80s double shot. You know, that's a school photo, I think. Hold on. Yeah, I think these are preschool photos too. And this one, yeah, I think this was preschool. This might have been kindergarten. I'm not sure. Fifth birthday. I was probably 5 here. 5 or 6, I'm not sure. Probably 6 or 7 here. This was like 87 or 88. I'm not sure. This is me and my mom at my Aunt Charlotte's apartment at that time. Probably same year, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe a little before the last couple. It's hard to tell. This was 89. This was... What grade was I in? It was a school photo. Taken at this private school Elay Olmo Day that I went to. I started like 2nd grade there. Let me see. I can't remember what age I was when I was in kindergarten, because I did kindergarten twice due to like autistic related shit. So was I 6 in kindergarten? How old was I in 89? I was 7. So I was 7 here. 7. I remember kids saying they were like during roll call, they would be like, they would say their name and what grade they were in. A lot of kids said 7, 2nd grade. So I was behind. So I was probably in 1st grade there. Eddie Leomode. It might have been my 1st year there. Yeah, and that's a wide shot of that. I was on a donkey. Another shot of that. Probably the same year. I'm not sure. That's probably a year or 2 later. Probably, let me see. That's my friend Maury. When was this? I'll look about 9, maybe. So this... Yeah, it's probably like 1990 or 91. I'm not sure. Around the same time, that's another kid, Joseph. He's probably saying something funny, and I was probably just like, you know, cringing or whatever. I don't know. And that was the lunchroom at school. So that is me with my mom's co-worker's baby daughter, Ava. Probably around the same time frame, like between 90 and 92. So it's probably about 9, maybe 10. I'm not sure. Probably 9. I always looked a bit older for my age back then. Because I was an early bloomer. I started like male puberty early. So I always looked a couple years older than I was. So I was probably like, I'm gonna say 9. Yeah, I don't quite look 8. Because I think I was starting to get that high top fade, that early 90s high top fade. So I was probably, I was at least 8 for sure. But I'm gonna guess 9. Early sign. It looks like I'm breastfeeding the baby. But yeah, boobs. There were signs all along. And I'm mimicking a breastfeeding scenario. So make of that what you will. I think I was blinking. Oh, by the way, another early sign. I didn't smile much in pictures. Like, it was rare that I smiled. But the older I got, the less I smiled in pictures. Yeah, you might have noticed. Like, I smile in most of the earlier ones. But, yeah. As I get older, I stop smiling. Could be related to early signs of dysphoria, maybe just not quite feeling right, feeling different, you know, being autistic, all that shit combined, could have like had some sort of degree of stress related to it. I don't know. But I just gradually started getting more serious, which became a theme later as I got older. Like, I eventually got to a point where I rarely smiled in pictures because I didn't like my smile. I felt weird and cringe smiling, whether it was real or fake. Like, it would just, ugh, it was weird. I just couldn't do it. It felt too cringe. See, I was blinking there. Ooh. Oh, that's... that is bad. I think I took this with a Polaroid. So, it was a little blurry, a little bit doubled. Bad lighting. A little shadow right there. Now it's getting fatter. And just more mean looking. Yeah, this one's sideways, but if you look at my face, if you tilt your head, look how serious I looked. Like, granted, I probably wasn't feeling the outfit, but yeah, this is like probably one of the meanest looking pictures I took as a kid. And I think I was probably, I was at least 10 at that point. So I was starting to kind of like sink into that whole like, mean mugging sort of like serious face, like weird kid type shit. So could have been an early sign of dysphoria. I'm not sure. Oh, and I guess there's a big gap. Like I never took. Wow. So that was. I'm sure there's more pictures of me like between this and this, because I was 17 here. This is like my high school ID. So I was probably, I I don't know. What grade was I in when I was 17? I was probably. I was either. I was a junior, I think. Because I was 18 as a senior, and I had just turned 19 when I graduated high school. So I was 18 when junior year ended. So this had to be like late sophomore or early junior year. So I was 17 in this. I was probably like, I don't know, 20, 21, holding that picture up. Because I had dreads in my early 20s before I cut them off. Yeah, not smiling here. Wow, should I go into my teenage years? Like, okay, so let me see. I was probably 10 or 11 here, and I started, let me see. We lived in California up until I was 13, and then we moved to Maryland. So, 7th grade is when like puberty, like I was like well into my puberty, and I probably looked maybe like I there was one kid in 7th grade who said I looked 23 back then when I was like maybe 13 or 14. So she's probably exaggerating, but yeah, I was an early bloomer. So I looked older than the other kids, and I was like um I was taller. I was what else? I was starting to get like sideburns. And back then, I still thought I was a boy, so I was like kind of proud of my sideburns. And, like I didn't like on the one hand, I didn't like the facial hair, like just preference wise. Like I was fine with it just being smooth, but the part of me that was like, oh, you want to be older when you're that age. So it's like, oh, look, I'm becoming a man. I'm getting sideburns. My beard's starting to grow. And I was starting to get little, pubes on my face and shit. So I had mixed feelings about the facial hair at that age. Like a lot of it was just like wanting to fit in. So the older you look, the more of a man you were, and that, of course, meant you fit in. So on that level, I was happy about it, but it itched like hell, and I could never like keep it for too long because it would always itch like hell, and I would always end up shaving it because it itched. I never knew how other guys could like wear their beards, for such long periods of time because like I don't know how it doesn't itch, but I just it always felt on me. Just never quite felt right. But it gave me bragging rights for a while as a 7th grader. What else? Of course, the 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 sexual puberty, like the coming for the first time. I was 11 when I came for the first time. So by 13, I was like masturbating every day, and at that point, I was having fun with it. So like I never had bottom dysphoria like that, but at that point, I was having fun with that. I was getting pubic hair. I was getting leg hair, which I was proud of at that age, because it's just like, oh, I'm a man, blah blah blah. Again, not your typical trans story. I did not know I was trans back then. There may have been signs. They flew over my head. I just didn't know. Had no clue. So, there was a main point I wanted to make. Oh, boobs. Gynecomastia. Being fat. As I started puberty, I was gaining more weight. I was getting fatter. Didn't really realize it until kids started, pointing it out to me very rudely, um, and cruelly. But yeah, I had man boobs, moobs, quote unquote. At first, I didn't think anything of them. I just figured, it's probably puberty. People grow boobs, during puberty. Did cross my mind that, that was just strictly a girl thing. So, like, I just didn't think anything of it. Like, oh, okay, whatever. I was indifferent about my moves until those fucking little shits in middle school started teasing me, bullying me verbally, relentlessly. Just constant jokes, constant fucking just like comments, just like the old saying, kids are cruel. They were. So they would just constantly fucking give me shit about my, being fat, having big titties. They even used to call me Titty Boy. And it kind of rhymed with that, like, it was, I don't know if it was a rap or a go-go song. Like, go-go is like a DC version of, like, hip-hop. It's, like, done with live drums and shit instead of drum machines. It's a little bit different. If you look up go-go, it's a DC thing. But there was this one go-go track where, I don't know if it was go-go or rap, but it was like, there was this one line where it was like, Titty Boy. It sounded like he was saying Titty Boy. And it kind of like, it rhymed with, at least rhymed with what the kids, would call me, Titty Boy. So, once I started getting shit for that from other kids, that's when the dysphoria started kick. Like, that was the first major sign of dysphoria, where like it triggered just me feeling not right about my body, not comfortable in my body. I went from feeling indifferent to being like really just disgusted. Probably would have got there anyway without that, but that certainly didn't help, or it helped it along. So, yeah, that was like a major problem area. I hated having my boobs because I thought I was a guy, so like, I wanted them cut off. Like, I hated them. They were like one of my biggest insecurities. Only until after, only when external like bullshit came at me. So that dysphoria was completely triggered by external factors. So, make of that what you will. But let me see. Yeah, I was fat. I was like 6'3". I was already 6'3" at that point. So I grew to my maximum height pretty early. I was probably like, I can't remember how much I weighed. I was like over 250 in like seventh and at least seventh grade. I was like probably in the 250 to 350 range at 6'3". So I was a pretty big guy, quote unquote. I think summer between seventh and eighth grade, I visited my dad. He like tried to help me lose weight in a very like, cruel drill sergeant kind of way. Like that's like its own long story. But yeah, we're estranged. We never got along that much. You know, whatever. That's its own thing. But yeah, I had a bad experience trying to lose weight. I'm not sure if I actually lost any, but um yeah, eighth grade, after all that bullying, I just kind of withdrew. I became like the quiet loner kid, you know, wasn't boisterous and, like trying to be funny and fit in. I was trying to be the class clown in seventh grade despite getting, bullied. So I was trying and failing to fit in. So I eventually just gave up in eighth grade and just kind of like settled into the whole like weird quiet kid type shit. So yeah, that was kind of uneventful from that point. Uh, started like started noticing that I was like, gay for boys back then. Like I was kind of bi at first. Like I like girls and boys. Like I would have like little crushes on girls and boys as a kid. Didn't think anything of it, but as I got into middle school age and started like thinking boys were cute, that's when it started, like I started realizing, maybe I should probably like keep this on the low because, people get called the F slur for that. Like the F slur was just like commonplace back then, mid 90s. So, and the 90s were like way more homophobic than things are now, if you put aside like Trump's influence. But yeah, back then it was just like the norm. Like homophobia was the norm. So I was going through the whole like hardships of realizing that I was gay or at least bi, and eventually kind of like started like turning like more fully gay as I got older into my teens. That's just it just happened naturally. Like it wasn't like a conscious effort to like turn gay. It just happened. Like I just eventually lost interest in girls and just got gay. So yeah, I went through my struggles with that throughout, middle school, high school. Can't remember anything dysphoria related, because I didn't really get teased much after seventh grade. Like once I kind of withdrew, like I guess I got more invisible and people just stopped bothering me. So yeah, I was like a quiet loner in high school. I was, going through my teenage like depression and shit, and just always sleeping in school. Just, the usual, like, teen angst type shit. Maybe there was some dysphoria there. Maybe there was, like, it was just like, mostly your usual shit. So I honestly can't really say if there were, like, early signs, during my high school years. But, yeah, I did stay, I did stay fat. Like, I don't know how much I weighed here, but, yeah, I'd always struggle with my weight throughout those years. My weight kind of went up and down. I was probably, around 250 here. Uh, at one point, I was like 350. Or no, 380. Yeah, I think 380 was my highest weight. Probably, God, I forget when it was. I'm gonna say between 7th grade and or 10th grade. Like middle school through like the first half of high school, I was probably at my biggest weight. 380, the highest I can remember. Until I eventually found some like shit from an infomercial. It was like the late 90s, and there was like this 6-week body makeover system. It was basically a crash diet. I lasted. No. Wait, that's later. I'm tripping. That's later. Never mind. Yeah, my weight went up and down in high school. This was probably, I'm gonna say 10th grade. Because this is my mom. We were at one of my teacher, Miss Dyson. Uh, those are her two twin babies right there. So I was probably, I don't know, maybe I was about 17. I'm not sure. Like, I started growing dreads, as you can see there. Whereas this, my hair was short. So I'm guessing this was like sometime after that. This may have been my 9th grade photo. I'm not sure. Or maybe early 10th grade. But yeah, I was at one high school for like 9th and 10th grade. Miss Dyson was my teacher at the first school that I was at. One of my teachers. Uh, and she was kind of like close with us. Like, she kept up with us. She might have been like, she might have been a special ed teacher, and I just didn't really know it at that time. Like, I didn't really think of it that way. But yeah, she was close with us, so we were at her house. Her babies had just been born recently at that time. I forget the occasion we were there in this picture, but yeah, I was probably like maybe 17 here. Maybe early 8. Nah, I couldn't have been 18. Maybe I just turned 18. I don't know. Maybe I can't remember. Yeah. And this is my first ever selfie as an adult. I was 20 and my dreads had grown to shoulder length at that point. And yeah, first ever selfie. I think my mom helped me out with the first two. So, yeah, I'm like This is another one of my rare smiling photos. But, yeah, I looked a little androgynous here at this age with this hair, but I felt disgusting. Like, I did not know how cute I was at this age. It wasn't until I looked back later when I was like, probably, in my 30s, and just saw, I just looked back and I was like, wow, I didn't know I was that cute. And part of that cuteness registered, it was something about it that like stuck in my brain. And it was the fact that I looked more feminine with these dreads and like the baby face. It's a smoother face because, the older I got, the more masculine I looked. So there was always this inkling in the back of my mind where I wanted to kind of look like that again. And that was part of that was part of the catalyst that like gave me the idea to start my makeover in my when I started like changing my wardrobe, because I kind of like I was subconsciously wanting to kind of look like this again, and now I've like gone way overboard with it in like the best way possible. Anyway, yeah, it was my first ever two selfies as an adult. Yeah, I think my mom took these for me. And this is my first self-taken selfie. It's probably not the first, but it's the first one I have that I still have in my on my hard drive. Yeah, about 20 years old. Uh Very cute and androgynous, long hair. Didn't know it. Felt gross. Like you may see a cute, like, androgynous young guy here, but like I don't know if I felt ugly or just like I felt off. Like I felt like there was like I just couldn't see the cuteness. All I could see was like just some freakish looking like just bag of meat. It's really hard to explain. Like I just I saw something else and I didn't like it. I always attributed that to like getting, bullied in middle school. Like that really scarred me. That really did a number on me. It really fucked up my self-esteem, or at least triggered a lot of like it got the ball rolling. It triggered my first bouts of dysphoria where I just started feeling like really shitty about myself, shitty about my body, just not feeling right. It probably would have come about eventually in a different way, but in my case, it was triggered by that early trauma of middle school and just like being bullied relentlessly, verbally, not physically, thank God, but verbally for my looks and being fat. So I always felt like that fat kid, that awkward looking fat kid, even still here when I was 20. And thinking back at that point, like I used to kind of get looks and attention, like people thought I was cute, but I didn't think I was. So like any compliments I got, I didn't believe it. I just couldn't see whatever other people were seeing. So, yeah. Even though I look like that, I felt disgusting. And I couldn't have told you why back then. I didn't know. I thought it was just normal low self-esteem. And but it felt worse than the average person's from what the average person describes. And there's me. I was high. Uh, yeah, not sure what else to say about that. I was high. Still looking androgynous. I had cut the hair a little bit shorter at this point. Still looking androgynous. You know, looking back on these pictures, like, in my 30s, I was like, wow, I used to be so cute. I did not know it back then. I wish I'd known. And I was starting to yearn for this look again, or at least something like it. And I eventually cut my dreads off when I was probably 21. I don't know if I was 21 here. I forget exactly when this was. This is probably like 2003 or 4. So I was probably 21, early 20s, basically. Yeah, cut the dreads off because, like, they were just too high maintenance for me at that time. I didn't have, like, gender euphoria as a motivator to, like, have them again. Because, again, I didn't know I could possibly be trans. I just knew trans people, in certain queer communities that I was in, from being gay and, working at a gay youth center at that time. So I, yeah, I knew some trans people there, but that was them. Couldn't be me, you know? Like, that was just them. That was their thing. Okay, I know a few trans people. Whatever. Like, I didn't think anything of it. It didn't fascinate me yet. I didn't have any curiosity about it yet. Like, I just had no fucking clue. Even though I was drowning in dysphoria. Like, look at my face. Like, this face became the norm. Like, this was like my normal, like, selfie face for a while. Where I would always just kind of like I never smiled because I always felt cringe when I smiled. I just couldn't. Ugh, I didn't like it. I couldn't look at it. I couldn't. It was embarrassing to smile. Possibly because most of my smiles were fake. I could only smile for real when something was funny and I was laughing. So, yeah, the safest expression was my neutral expression, which looked kind of mean muggy. But yeah, but even though I was handsome, yeah, something was like just I couldn't be expressive. I couldn't be like, I couldn't be cute and just like, own it and just like, feel it, just like feel good about it. Like I felt gross. I felt disgusting. I was stressed out. And yeah, like this was the face I could produce most of the time for selfies. And to varying degrees, I was trying to kind of like I was widening my eyes, trying to, look relaxed and just kind of, you know, like look happy-ish, like I was trying to mimic, You know, like a happy person who could just smile naturally, but I couldn't do it. And that was partially, me being autistic and just not masking very well. But yeah, this is one of my faces that I, would consciously. It's like I thought I was trying to look relaxed because I had this insecurity about looking mean, like I did here. So I would always try to relax my face so I wouldn't look mean in my, dating profiles back then on dating sites, back when they were called sites and they were on desktop only. So yeah, I think most of these selfies were like dating profile pics for like gay dating sites. Uh and they were just as shit back then as they are now. I haven't been on them lately, but I hear they've gotten worse since I was on them. So anyway, oh, and I was wearing a different earring. I, I never realized I haven't changed my earring in probably 15 years. Like it's been over a decade since I've had this one in. Forgot I had other earrings. Anyway, yeah. The main point of all this is that my particular dysphoria didn't really start kicking in until early adulthood. So, that's when I started just like feeling really off about myself. Didn't know what to attribute it to, but I can never quite feel right. And I could never quite I could never like the way I looked. I just tolerated it. Any compliments I got, I never believed it. Another rare smile. I think my mom took that. Another brooding selfie. This is I think it's another one of my dating profile pics. Uh, Looking really handsome here. Wearing a nice, nice. Is this flannel? I don't know if it's flannel, but a nice button up shirt. You know, looking in decent shape. Probably was in decent shape, but still felt disgusting. Still felt like that fat kid in middle school. Still kind of like stressed out. Kind of, what's the word? Despondent? I don't know what that means, but emo, for lack of a better word. God, I'm dating myself even with that word. But yeah, I was just kind of. It was partially just like the general stress that I was in and me trying to kind of look, relaxed and cool and just like, attractive and I could kind of objectively see that I was a handsome guy, but I didn't feel it, in my bones, in my heart. I felt gross. And I was, ugh. I, yeah, you get the idea. Another selfie. Rare one of me wearing glasses. I have astigmatism. Um, I don't wear contacts. I haven't worn glasses in a long time. Yeah, I don't know why I stopped wearing my glasses. Oh yeah, I stopped because they would always slip off my face. They would slip down my nose, and it was just really annoying. I always had to push them up. Probably would be a problem now with the less oily skin, but I had very oily skin back then. So, Yeah, that made wearing glasses annoying, and I eventually just stopped wearing them because I hated doing this, especially in the summer when I would sweat. So, I guess that's like tangentially dysphoria related. Male traits, oily skin, testosterone shit. I don't think this one was a dating profile. It was probably just some random one I took. Uh, Probably early 20s. I don't know what age I was. I'm gonna guess probably between 22 and 25. I don't know. But again, looking brooding. That's the word I was looking for, brooding. Another one. This is probably, I'm gonna guess I was 25 in this one. Because this kind of looks closer to like what I looked like when I started doing YouTube. Because I was 25 going on 26 when I started making YouTube videos. And I looked about like this. So I was probably, yeah, this is probably around then. This might have been a year or two later. I was probably maybe 26, 27. Uh, Starting to, look more masculine. I was also, oh yeah, I was on that crash diet I mentioned that, ended up being like around this time. So I was starting to lose some weight again, very angular jaw and bone structure, very masculine, very traditionally handsome, but I just tolerated it. Had the 5 o'clock shadow there, probably looks sexy, to other people, but it was itchy to me, and it was just like, you know, clean shaving it would like give me shaving bumps, so I would always just trim it. So I like had no choice but to just have 5 o'clock shadow all the time, or else like shaving it clean would irritate my skin. So like it was awful. Just shaving it irritated it, letting it grow out irritated it, and I didn't like how it decutified me. That's probably not a word, but like I hate I like now I can say like I hated how it masculinized me, but I saw it as like just being less cute and baby faced. And like I didn't have I was losing that baby face that I had in my early 20s. So, I was tolerating that. I didn't like it, but some guy, a lot of gay guys like that. They like masculinity, so I was leaning into that. But yeah, actually, that was a good pose. That was a good face. I actually managed to look neutral in this one without looking, weird and exaggerated in some kind of way. Yeah, this was probably like well into my crash diet. It's probably the thinnest I've ever been in a selfie. And I think my mom took this. I think I was like 27. Or no. Maybe that was before. I went on this crash diet probably like sometime before I started YouTube, so maybe I was wrong about that earlier pick, but like yeah, this was probably I probably weighed like maybe 170 in that. And I probably like last time I weighed myself I was 194. So I eventually gained a lot of weight back after this, after I got off the crash diet. But even here I still felt like that fat kid in middle school. Even then I still had like little moobs that I was insecure about. I had loose skin that I was insecure about. I also had chest hair, very thick, coarse, noticeable chest hair, even from there. Like, yeah, I was. I think this crash diet might have been partially dysphoria driven. Just trying to work out, thinking it would cure my bad self esteem, but nothing worked. I always felt awful and gross. So, yeah, that was that. Got off the crash diet, gained most of the weight back. I was probably still on it here. Maybe a little bit thicker, I'm not sure. But, yeah, that was like the start of my little frohawk phase. I'm not sure which year this was. Another rare smirk. Not sure what I was smirking at. I might have been thinking of something funny. I don't know. Doesn't quite look fake. Yeah, I might have just been thinking about something funny. Because it doesn't look like a fake smirk. But yeah, like, again, more masculine than I used to look. Got the scraggly kind of beard growing in, just looking very, you know, very manly. It's like, I was a man, I was supposed to look manly, you know, but I didn't like it. It was more of a like, okay, I know I'm supposed to look good this way, like I'm supposed to look like this, but back then I wished I was a twink or at least a cute baby face kind of younger guy because the younger baby face look subconsciously was androgynous to me. And something about the androgyny just would have made me look better. So maybe that's like a dysphoria thing, like an early sign of just wanting to look more feminine. But I don't think I had the language or even the just worldliness to kind of think of that possibility. It was just like something is off. I don't like it. I can't explain it in a way that fully makes sense. It just seems like I have normal low self-esteem that's just worse than the average person's low self-esteem. All the self-help bullshit never worked. You know, Positive thinking never worked. Trying to fake confidence never worked. I just, yeah, I didn't like it. Looking even more masculine here. This was Thanksgiving 2008. I remember this. I did like a video series on my old YouTube account documenting this trip to visit family. I think I was over my my fraternal grandmother's house. here before she died. My grandma Jewel. See, that was a rare smirk. This is one of those days where I just couldn't really fake smiling or looking, friendly. It might have been another dating profile pic, but yeah, I, I had a hard time faking the relaxed, friendly look. Mm-hmm. So that was the best I could do. Wearing the beard. I forget exactly. I don't know if I was just kind of tired of shaving at that point and I was just too lazy to shave it, or if I was leaning into the bearded manly look. Maybe a little bit of both, but there were times where I would just kind of let it grow out a little bit and just kind of roll with it. All tolerating, it was all toleration. I never actually liked having facial hair, but I tried to learn to like it. Didn't work out. And this is I think this is an intentionally fake smile. Me just I was being silly. I think the joke was that it's a fake smile and it looks unconvincing. And I was trying to play it as some kind of joke to kind of, be charming or whatever. I don't know if it landed, but it kind of unintentionally just had this guy is unhappy. He's trying to look happy and he's failing miserably. So, yeah, I tried. And then this is I was just mean mugging, just being silly. Yeah, trying to cover up my dysphoria with humor. I was blinking and just happened to have that shot. I thought it was funny, so I kept it. And I think I was just just straining my face. How you just put pressure on it like this. Make it like that. That's what I was doing. Yeah, just being silly. Trying to cover up the fact that I was, just feeling really cringe about myself and, just if you can't look good, if you can't look cute and feel cute, try to be funny. That'll be charming and attractive. Maybe they'll get it. Maybe not. Didn't work. I had no riz at all. I still don't. And I think I might have hurt a neck muscle doing all that. So. This, believe it or not, was a dating profile pic. Looking creepy as hell with those creepy eyes. And believe it or not, I was trying to look relaxed and just I was trying not to do this with my eyes because when I did this, I looked mean. So I was trying to open them more just to make them look more lively and, just kind of look more relaxed and just I couldn't smile because I wasn't feeling that, but I could try to look relaxed. That was the best I could do back then. The point is I was trying to look attractive or just happy and I was failing miserably. This, believe it or not, was intended as a thirst trap. I'm in my tank top, showing off my, manly chest hair, little sexy pose. But look at my face. I look creepy as hell. Like I got that resting like serial killer face. And again, I was trying to look sultry and sexy and just like I could not do that. I could not imitate that well. I couldn't be expressive. Like something always held me back. And I couldn't be free. I was caught in a prison of the mind, and it was just like I didn't even know what it was. Like something is wrong with me. I don't know what it is. Like I'm a disgusting creep, and I know it. I'm trying to fool myself out of, you know, thinking it. I'm trying to look attractive. I'm trying to look sexy, but I don't feel sexy, but I'm trying desperately. It's just like it's not working. And deep down I knew it, and I felt awful about it. So that's the common theme with these. Like me trying to mask and cover up my dysphoria and just failing at it miserably and not having the consciousness to know why. There's another one with the resting serial killer face. Like I was trying to look relaxed, trying to, relax my face and, you know, widen my eyes just to kind of not look like I was frowning. I thought it was better than frowning. So this was the best I could do. But I couldn't hide the anguish and pain in my head and like just inside me. I couldn't hide it. I couldn't smile that day. The dysphoria was probably hitting me really hard, just feeling cringe and just like, ugh. I was trying desperately, but I was failing. So, another dating profile pic, trying to look, you know, sexy, but I was just looking creepy as hell. Yeah. Let me see. Obviously, I was gaining more weight back after the crash diet, so. Yeah, this was another day, probably later. Hair was, growing. It was probably about time for a haircut. Another just kind of, another day, same bullshit. Just feeling gross. Here's me again, fatter, more manly looking. And when I describe myself as fat, like I don't mean that pejoratively, like, I just mean it as a descriptor, even though I did feel bad about being fat back then. But that eventually kind of helped me out a little bit, which I'll get to later. And there's me, depressed and drunk one night, just kind of, you know, here's a selfie. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I look like I was probably in a bad mood, just like drinking the pain away. I don't know. Oh, and this is like a remake of. Hold on. Where is it? This one. Yeah, it's a remake of this one. I was like young and cute in this. I was 25 in the first one. 30 in this. I gained like a lot of weight back. You know, hair was all unkempt, or not unkempt. It was just like it wasn't flattering. Um, beard was growing out. Same outfit, but just like much fatter and sadder looking. Probably mourning the loss of my, cute baby face when I was 25. This was only 5 years later, and I had already aged like 10 years between those two pics. And there's me another day, shaved my face. Still hadn't gotten a haircut yet. Wearing this ugly shirt. Just, same shit, different day. Just, feeling just bad. Trying to, trying to look neutral, trying to look not sad, but still looking sad, and just kind of, like I hated the way I looked here. Not just because of the shirt, but just my face. Like, I did not look right. I probably look fine. I look like just some average dude, but like, I felt awful. And I could barely hide it in my facial expression. There's a fake smile, you know, like I couldn't even smile. I couldn't even fake smile well that day. Like you could just tell it's fake. I was just like, mm, mm. You're supposed to be happy in profile pics, right? Look at me, I'm happy. I'm being charming and friendly. I'm gonna get replies to my dating profile. Barely got any. Uh, yeah, I'm not ugly. I'm not fat and disgusting. I'm just a normal, I'm just a normal guy, like whatever. I got a nice shirt on. I've got a nice little fro. I'm just kind of, eh, I'm trying. Uh, mm, that was the feeling. And there's another day, just gotten a fresh haircut. Had the 5 o'clock shadow going. Another dating profile pic. You know, trying not to frown, but still looking creepy and like, just like I couldn't cover up the cringe. I couldn't fake being, happy and, charming and just like, just whatever I had to be attractive and feel attractive. I couldn't do it that day. So that was the best I could do. Tried to smile, trying to look friendly. I couldn't do it. I was feeling too awful. That looked like a genuine smirk. I might have been a little impressed with myself that day. Could have been the frohawk. I was clean. I was looking a little sharp that day. It was one of the better days, I guess. This was another fake smile. I did a little better this time, but you could still tell it's fake. And I'm just like, uh, uh, look at me, I'm happy. I'm happy and confident enough to smile. Look at me, I'm handsome, aren't I? Hit me up. But yeah, I couldn't look at this one because I knew it was fake, and it was just like something about the fakeness was really cringe, and just something about the way my face looked in a smiling position. It disgusted me. I couldn't explain why. Like I just could never like the way I looked. And this was the safer one. This was the one I was comfortable putting up ultimately because it was neutral, it was safe, wasn't expressive. I couldn't be expressive. Being expressive made me look cringe. It was embarrassing. So the neutral face, it was just, it was my go to. Some days were better than others. You know, I could do it better some days than others. Yeah. This is after we moved into a new place. And I was like, yeah, I might have gained a little bit more weight here. This is probably my. Was it my first? No. No, no, yeah, it was. It was my first iPhone pick. This is my first iPhone pick. I forget what year, but I was in my early 30s. So I'm guessing around like 2013, 14, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is my first iPhone pick. Not really much else to say. You know, still drowning in my manliness. Even though I was clean shaven, I still kind of just like I was still very deep in boy mode, very deep in the Matrix. Like I was just, you know, like this was how I looked. Wow, I look I look really masculine here, even clean shaven. Uh, I don't think this was a profile pic. This one might have been, but I don't know about this one. I think I was kind of like, you know, kind of ashamed of my weight in this and just kind of looking like it wasn't flattering. I don't remember ever liking this pic, so I never used it for anything, I don't think. But I was on the metro. I was on the train, on the subway. Forget where I was going, but yeah, random pic there. Had a toothache that day, I think. This might have all been the same day. I'm not sure. And I was at least wearing the same T-shirt. And this day, yeah, I had a toothache, so I was holding my face and just kind of, you know, making fun of myself. This was another one. Again, just kind of neutral face, nice fresh haircut, you know, good looking in theory, but I just could not produce a sexy face. I was just like, this is the best you're getting. This is the best I can do today. Because even though I got this haircut, it was the haircut I wanted. I still look Like I still don't. I'm not feeling it. I don't like the way I look. I look like a fat puffy face, just awkward, like just awkward dude. With the chest hair. Like nothing objectively wrong with any of that. It's just like just that version of me. I couldn't like it, and I didn't. It always looked off to me. This was a little bit of a better day. You know, I think this was another dating profile pic. Classic bathroom pose. Couldn't fake couldn't fake a friendly face, couldn't fake a smile, couldn't fake being cute. Even though I was kind of, like still look kind of baby face, clean shaven some days. It depended. Yeah, like you see varying degrees of just like discomfort on my face. And that was the running theme. Yeah, this day I was just like at my, manliest and most unkempt. My hair was kind of, I think I had bed head. Had the abusive husband chest hair, the wife beater shirt. Like I had the abusive drunk husband look here. Stereotypical abusive husband doing his taxes. Wife brings him a meal, he tries it. It's like this nasty bitch. you know, just that like abusive husband meme type shit. I look like that guy here. Or maybe like a black version of Val Kilmer in what's that one movie about the hobo kid? God, I forget what it was called, but it was Val Kilmer was playing like a drunk, abusive stepdad in that movie. So I look like the black version of that guy here. Oh, okay, and this is like getting towards the end of my, my I don't even know what to call it. My uh I don't know, my man face for lack of a better word, or at least my hold on a minute. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but yeah. This was like towards my, mid 30s maybe. I was kind of coming down from a slut phase that, didn't make me happy like I thought it would. I thought it would build my confidence, kind of an exposure therapy type thing. I thought it would get me comfortable with my body, get me confident in my, personality, just something to help me. It was like a self-help exercise. So, I tried to do the slut face to build my confidence. That ended up being like mediocre and nothing to write home about. So, I was coming down from it. I was, during my slut phase, I was kind of going through like I had a brief period of just like what I thought was euphoria, but it was really just like indifference. Like I had gotten to a point where I just stopped caring what people thought, temporarily. And I just kind of like did whatever. I was kind of numb, and I mistook that for feeling happier because I wasn't feeling shitty as much. So I just kind of rode that wave for a little while. But I eventually came down and my dysphoria started relapsing. So I started getting down in the dumps again. And you can see it on my face here. Like, I was probably barely holding it together that day. Like, I don't know, I could have been thinking about some kind of trigger or something. I don't know. But I did not look happy. I was trying to look neutral and friendly. Like, I was trying to cover up my pain with just like a relaxed face, the best I could do. And even then, I just couldn't. I couldn't hide the pain in my eyes. I was just. I was really fucked up. Another dating profile pic. You know, look at me just looking all like. I guess this is. I guess I'm handsome. And look at me standing all awkward with the awkward arm, you know, awkward pose, and my arm by my side. Like, you know, part of that was just like autistic feeling like an alien, you know, not really just. It was like a combination of like autism symptoms and like dysphoria. And like I couldn't mask, I couldn't like I was trying to be normal, but I couldn't do it. Like, everything I did was awkward. Everything I did was cringe. All of my poses and pics were cringe. All of my faces were cringe. Everything about me just felt so cringe and gross and disgusting and creepy. And that was all weighing down on me. And I was like, no, you're supposed to be confident. Because confidence is attractive, and you know you gotta fake it till you make it. I'm trying. I can't. I'm ugly. I'm fat. I nobody would ever want me. No. I'm surprised. You know, I'm surprised I even went through a slut phase because like, who in their right mind would fuck me unless they're drunk, right? Oh, or maybe they just have like unconventional taste because I'm not hot. I'm just a disgusting, cringe little fucking loser. I just I can't fake it anymore. So, you know, I was over the slut phase. I was back into my depression, back in the dumps, barely holding it together. Oh god, this one. I like looking like this pic comes up on my. Oh my god, get in there. Yeah, this picture comes up on my phone screen. Like, you know how sometimes it shows little pictures of you when it's like idle? That one comes up a lot. I like looking at that because of how sad I look in this. It reminds me of where I came from and how far I've come along. Because, like, look at me. Look at my eyes. Like, you could just see the pain. I was just like, I'm trying, but I can't do it. I'm trying to feel good about myself, but I can't. I'm a loser. I'm disgusting. I'm creepy. Everyone knows it. Everyone can see it. What's the point in even trying to smile anymore? I'm ugly, and I know it, and I'm just tolerating it. That's probably how I felt. But, you look at me later on, like I really light the fuck up. You'll see. Look at me just desperately trying not to frown, I just couldn't. I couldn't hide the pain. It's a trip. And this was probably the last couple of. Was it the last selfie? Yeah, it was the last couple of selfies that I took before I just went on like a selfie hiatus. These were the. This was the one that I had as my like avatar pic on Twitter for like a while, probably 5 or so years, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, I settled on this one because I just gave up taking selfies. This was the best I could manage to look, most recently at that point. So I just stuck with this one and kept it as my PFP on all my socials, and you know, I started looking even worse after this point, but I never took any selfies to show it. You could probably see it on some of my old streams where I'm just looking even, worse than this. Just, ugh. Look at me. I look like I probably look a decade older here than I do now, and this was a decade ago. Like I'm exaggerating, obviously, but yeah, HRT, like that's another effect, another unmentioned effect. It de-ages you. I look fucking 25 again, honestly. I don't care if I'm tooting my own horn. I don't care if someone else coming like, no, you actually look 35. Fuck you. I look 25, goddammit. This shit de-aged me. It really de-aged me. I don't know how, but it did. Yeah. Last selfie before the drought. And let's see. Oh, okay. This is a turning point. So the gap between this and this. This was after COVID started. Let me see. This was 2016. Okay. 2016. 2022? I think it was 2022. But yeah, like I was growing a COVID fro. Like I stopped getting haircuts because I social distancing. So I just let my hair grow out. It was unkempt. I wasn't taking care of myself. It was just a big sponge that I was just letting grow out. I was I was a hermit. It was COVID anyway, so you had to socially distance. I couldn't socialize anyway. So I had an excuse to just kind of let myself go and let my hair grow out. But I eventually got to a point where I started missing that androgynous look that I had in my early 20s with the dreads. And I wanted to grow them back out to see if I could kind of pull that look off again. And this was around the same time where I was like kind of going down the queer content rabbit hole. Watching a lot of trans content. I thought I was an ally. I was a cis ally. So, I was educating myself to be a better ally. So, that along with like, femboy content, you know, seeing those outfits, seeing the feminine like gender expression, like a lot of little factors like that, reminded me of that old look I had in my early 20s. So I was, I had an idea. Like, it was also around the time where I started, like, kind of fantasizing about what sex would be like as a woman. And I thought it was just some kind of weird kink that I had. I didn't really think much of it, but it just like it was a recurring thing, and I just kind of like it all just started kind of slowly coming together. Where I was just like, I want to look like that again, but I want to go further. I want to take it to the next. I want to look like that again, but better. So I was like, you know what? I asked my mom to like tighten up the fro, tighten up the lumps of hair, turn them into dreads, basically. So she tightened them up, made dreads again, and then I started like losing weight again. I started working out again. But I was already at this point. I was already like kind of experimenting with a more androgynous look, and I was kind of like flirting with the idea of any all pronouns, because I was like just on the verge where I was kind of like I was having these fantasies about having sex as a woman, but I didn't quite think I looked the part to be able to want to explore that openly. So I wanted to look the part first, at least look androgynous and somewhat in line with what I would consider an attractive version of me. So I tried this, tried to, look more androgynous. I was looking at the femboy TikToks, loving those outfits, wanting to try them myself, but I was still too scared to go that far with it. So, I started with the dreads, androgynous kind of hairstyle, clean shaven, and I think this is like my first batch of like new clothes that I started getting. So it's like a silky kind of soft fabric t-shirt. Just something subtle to help myself look less and less masculine over time. And yeah, I just rolled with that. Also about the titties. I was still like, I was still kind of yo-yoing with my weight and, had man boobs. But at this point, they were starting to grow on me, pun intended. They were starting to grow on me. Like I was starting to look at them in a new context, partially, just from those fantasies. Like, if I just it's like I used to want to cut them off because I used to like, men aren't supposed to have boobs. So like I wanted to cut them off so I could like just I was desperate to not feel gross about myself. And I was caught up in being a man, so I wasn't supposed to have boobs, so I wanted them gone. But when I started flirting with the idea of androgyny, I was like, you know what? Instead of cutting these off, I'll just make them belong there. You know that meme, that guy, yeah, instead of losing the weight, I mean, I still lost weight, but like, instead of trying to focus on burning them off, just convert them to boobs. Convert the moobs to boobs. So, I did that. I lost enough weight to start, just feeling good and looking better about myself. But I still had these, and I didn't want them completely gone. So, yeah, I kind of leaned into it a bit. And then, I eventually lost some weight. Still had boobs, can't really see them here, but lost some weight. And this is this is the start of my, I think this is like when I started using he, they pronouns. Like I went from any, all to he, they. So like this is like a landmark selfie of my, it symbolizes my he, they era, my very brief he, they phase. I was still caught up, I was still on that like ally cope, like, oh, I'm also, I'm on the verge of kind of like exploring my gender. I felt kind of like gender queer a little bit. Didn't really know what to call myself, but I'll experiment with like a they, instead of just a he. So, maybe I'm a little non-binary, but I'm not trans. I'm a non-trans, non-binary person. Valid, by the way. It just wasn't me. You don't have to identify as trans to, you can identify however the fuck you want. you know, in my case, it was cope. So, I was, yeah, I think I was still holding on to being a guy. Like, I had, my imposter syndrome was really bad. So it's like, I can't be trans. I'm just an ally, a genderqueer ally. So, meanwhile, I'll just have a little fun, explore my gender, experiment with new pronouns, go for the androgynous look. But, you know, not a girl, not feminine, just androgynous. Like I'm still a guy. I'm just less of a guy than I thought. I'm a demi guy. Mostly a guy, but not all guy. And whatever the other part is, I'll figure it out. So, I was going with demi guy for a while, because that felt safe. I didn't want to call myself like, I didn't quite want to call myself non-binary because I thought that would be like encroaching upon other like real non-binary people, because remember, I'm just an ally, so I don't want to like make this about me, right? I don't want to I don't want to appropriate transness just for my little frivolous experiment, you know, because that's disrespectful. That's transphobic. You're making a mockery of transness, and you're trivializing what it's all about, because you don't have dysphoria. I mean, you have something, but it can't be dysphoria, because it's not as bad as the typical dysphoria you've heard about in all this trans content, right? I mean, it's not like you never liked the way you looked. It's not like you're desperately trying to find some new look, some new makeover that'll help you just like see how good you actually look. It's not like, you know, It's not like you hate. It's not like you ever hated having facial hair. You know. You know, you like being manly. It made you fit in, right? So like that's just all I knew. That's who I am. I'm a guy. And you know, I'm also a queer ally. I'm also a queer guy, but I'm also a trans ally. So like I'm that makes me comfortable expressing gender queerness. So, you know, that's as far as it goes. Like I'm just I'm saying fuck you to gender norms, you know? I'm a guy. I can be a femboy. I can be a demi guy and still be a guy, right? I could still, you know, because like gender's a social construct. It's just, you know, fuck gender, right? Fuck gender norms. I'm gonna fucking grow my hair out, look androgynous, start wearing chokers, you know, start wearing a purse. You know, see a little purse strap right there. And I'm just, you know, fuck it, men can be pretty. How about that? Take that, society. Huh? But, you know, I'm not trans. I'm just a femboy. Like, you know, like, I'm not trying to look more and more femme because I'm trans. Not because I want to be a girl. I just want to look like less of a guy. I just want to disown my maleness because it's toxic and it's patriarchy and blah blah blah. You know, I'm just trying to show solidarity with the trans community because I care. I'm an ally. But I'm not trans because if I say I'm trans, you know, if I say I'm like actually exploring my gender, like I'm making it about me. And that's being a bad ally. So yeah, I'll just be a femboy. Yeah, I could do this. I could pull it off. Like, look at me. I got the thigh highs and the short jean shorts and you know tight shirt showing off my titties, my NB boobs, NB titties. You know, just a demi guy. You know, whatever. You know, still a guy, still cis. I'm just progressive. You know? I mean, you know, I'm a femboy. I'm not a girl. I don't want to be a girl. I just want to kind of look like one. I just want to be mistaken for one. I don't actually want to be one because I'm not one, right? Like I don't have dysphoria. My pain isn't bad enough to be dysphoria. You know, I don't feel bad enough, right? I don't hate the way I look enough, right? Other girls hate their bodies more. Wait, trans people, not other. I'm cis. Trans people hate their bodies, right? They hate their bodies more than I do. So even though I feel disgusting, it can't be that bad, right? Yeah, yeah. Slipped up, called myself a girl. Oops. But you know, that just I misspoke. You know? I misspoke. Hody doody do. You know, let my hair down. Looking kinda pretty. But, you know. Still a demi guy, you know? You know, I'm maybe a little non-binary. You know, he, they. Like, you know, men can men can look cute and feminine, right? they can, by the way. That's valid. Don't get me wrong. But again, in my case, it was cope. Yeah, just trying shit out, you know. Just experimenting, you know. It's a nice outfit, you know. I make a pretty good femboy, right? And look at her. She is fucking hot. He is fucking hot. Ooh, excuse me. That's a hot femboy. Oops, I said girl again. My bad. Oh, and this is the picture I use. This is my before picture, like pre HRT picture that I did for my little side by side comparison. I'll get to the newer pic later, but yeah. There was some point where I was like looking at myself in the it was either in the mirror or like looking at myself on webcam. And I was just like you know, like I had this inner monologue going where I kept calling myself a girl, and it's just like, oh fuck, okay, no, not a girl. Like I'm not trying to offend any like real trans girls. I'm just, you know, I know my or it's not dysphoria, my normal depression, my normal mental health problems. Those are first world problems compared to like real dysphoria, right? So yeah, yeah, you know, I'm just having a little fun, you know, just saying fuck you to the patriarchy, right? But you know, there was one point where I was just looking at myself and I was just like, that's a girl looking back at me. And I was just like, yeah, you said that in your head. Like, yeah, just let go. Okay, fine, I'm a girl. God. And then like I started just like laughing. Like that was another big moment where I was just like, okay. I'm probably appropriating transness for the wrong reasons. I'm probably doing it for selfish reasons, you know, just to make myself feel better. And, you know, just like trivializing, you know, the trans experience for my, you know, my stupid little first world problems. But, you know, I can't stand that bullshit anymore. I have to like I'm on a roll here. I like there's no turning back. I'm too high off of this shit right now. So I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. I'm not gonna tell anybody that, you know, I'm you know, being a girl for the wrong reason, you know, whatever. Like fine. I'll just let myself fine, I'm a girl. Okay, I'm trans. Fine. I'm not a femboy. You know, I don't like being called sir anymore. You know, it's like it's inconsistent with the cuteness that I'm trying to achieve. And when people call me sir and brother and boss, like it's just it's degrading. I hate it. The more I kept, you know, more I kept getting misgendered. Okay, yeah, misgender, fine. Because I didn't even want to call it misgendering because I'm still a guy, right? But I don't like when they like I'm not being mistaken for a girl. Fuck. And that was frustrating me. So I was like, more femme, more femme, more femme. Like I want to be she her. God damn it! Like I want to be read as a woman. and it just wasn't happening. So, I just kept going further with it and further. And it's just like, okay, fine, I'll fucking transition if it helps me achieve this. Like I'm already like doing hot girl shit, getting hot girl mannerisms and shit, like, just yeah, doing hot girl shit, taking selfies, fucking, just being vain, being conceited, you know. That's another thing. Part of me like didn't, was afraid to like the way I look too much because that would be conceited and that's bad. You're not supposed to be a conceited guy because you're always told to be confident, but if you're too confident, you're delusional, you're creepy, you're just like, you're a creep who, you're sleazy, whatever. So, fuck, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, it was just like, okay, fine. I'm a girl, I'll roll with it. Maybe it'll help me stop getting surged so much. Nothing worked, by the way, but that's beside the point. It was still like a drug. And I just like my whole mindset changed. Even though I wasn't on HRT yet, my whole fucking mindset changed. It's just like this wardrobe change, this makeover, like something's hitting. Like something's hitting the right receptor in my brain. I'm just like, I cannot stop this. I have to roll with this. This feels too good. I look too good. I can't stop. This is like heroin. So I just rolled with it. I kept rolling with it. Kept femming it up. Eventually got to wearing my first, dresses and skirts. Start off with leggings and thigh highs. Eventually worked my way up to, skirts and dresses. Influenced by the femboy TikToks, and I was fucking pulling it off. It's like this little experiment is working. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling good. Like I'm actually liking the way I look for the first time in my life. Like actually liking it, not just tolerating it. It's like this was the answer. This was the answer to all my self-esteem problems. Like years and thousands of bucks of therapy would not have done shit. But this simple life hack, transing my gender, that's what worked. That's what finally fixed my head and made me feel better. Now I know what it's like to have healthy self-esteem. Now I know what it's like to actually like what I see in the mirror, and it's just like it's like a drug. Like I'm high as fuck on this shit right now. Look at me. I went from I went from just that burly fucking 5 o'clock shadow fucking just macho middle-aged looking guy to this cute bitch. Look at this hot bitch. Fucking look at her. Got the striped tank top, fucking smooth skin, nice necklace, just nice fucking outfit all around. Fucking garter belts on her legs and shit. Striped socks. Fucking skimpy ass short shorts. Dressing like a damn slut. And loving it. Like, you wouldn't have caught me dead looking like this 5 years prior to this. Because I just wasn't in that mindset. But, like, somehow I just stumbled onto this, like, this new high. This new life hack. This new, like, cheat code to happiness. It just took looking cute. And that set everything into motion. And that was another like thing holding me back. It was another mental block where it's like, oh, I'm transitioning just to look cute, just to look good and, you know, feel hot. That's the wrong reason. That's a shallow reason to want to transition just to be hot and cute, right? I have to have a deeper reason for it. And it can't be dysphoria because maybe it is. Like, all this time, my whole life, or at least my whole adult life, I felt disgusting. And finally, I feel good. And I finally, like, I don't avoid mirrors anymore. I don't, like, you know, I used to, like, only glance at myself in the mirror because it's like, I'm not in the mood to remind myself that I'm ugly. So, I was, like, addicted to how I looked for the first time. And I couldn't stop looking. I couldn't stop taking these selfies. I was just riding that high. Even though, you know, like, I was still getting misgendered a fuck ton because, you know, no HRT yet. Even with HRT, I still get misgendered a fuck ton. So, like, that hasn't helped at all. But it's made me feel better. That's the point. Yep, like, I was on a roll with these, you know, these femboy outfits. Look at that. Still kind of got the box-shaped body, you know, it still got the man belly, you know, like, you know, I don't have those curves yet, but I had the pose down. You know, like the semi-cross-legged pose, I had that down. There's a little high angle there. That's the only way I could take full body pics, by the way. I don't have a full body mirror, so, like, I have to maneuver my arms and hands and shit to, like, get the right angle without dropping the phone. It's a pain in the ass. But that was a good shot right there. And here, like, I'm looking a little more, like, masculine-ish. It may have been partially intentional because there came this one point where I was like, I was really dressed like hyper femme out in public one day. I was at a liquor store. I was wearing a pink miniskirt, you know, just dressed like a fucking, you know, anime girl, basically. And I was walking out of the liquor store, held the door open for this old guy. He comes up, he's like, "Thanks, big man." The way he said it, he's like, "Big man." Like, do you not see what the fuck I'm wearing? Big man? Like, that had to be intentional, dude. Come on. If you saw what I was wearing that day, big man? Like, come on. That has to be intentional. You are trying. You are squinting to see a man. Like, with what I was wearing, like, you could have easily put two and two together and deduced that this person is presenting very girl-codedly. So she probably doesn't want to be called any sort of male pronouns. But these people in my neighborhood are fucking morons. They don't do that. They just zero in on whatever, like, one or two fucking, like, standout masculine features that, you know, whatever clocks you, basically. They always zero in on that shit and just ignore the whole package. So you could be looking like, you could be dressed like fucking, you know, like Beyonce, you know, doing a performance or whatever. And all they will see is like, oh, you know, rough skin, fucking, you know, OJ Simpson, big man, brother, sup big dog, sup boss. I always get boss at liquor stores a lot. It's always the fucking liquor stores with the boss. I don't know why. But yeah, I walked out that door, trying to be nice, holding the door open for him. He was like, thanks, big man. Had like a little fucking twig in his mouth, or it was like a licorice twig, I don't know. But he just said it in such a gross fucking way where I was just like it took everything I had in me to suppress my, like, reaction. Like, I was just like, I want to smack this motherfucker. Like, this, that had to be intentional. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck how clocky my face looked. I don't give a fuck how angular my jaw was. That shit was fucking intentional. If you saw what I was wearing that day, that shit was intentional. Big man. Talking to me like I'm fucking Chuck Norris or some shit. But yeah, that really fucked me up. So, like, it signaled to me that I was trying too hard to look feminine. I was trying too hard to pass, at least in their terms. So it's like, okay, maybe if I'm trying too hard, maybe I'll just, like, tomboy it up a bit. You know, maybe a little reverse psychology will work. I'll go for the tomboy. But I thought I was a femboy. Okay, fine. I'm an MB. I'm they them. MB, you know, and just straight up androgynous. You know, still had the face of a man, according to strangers. Yeah, I know, it's, you know, there's no estrogen in that face. I get it. But, yeah, I laid off of the hyper femme look a bit. You know, I stopped wearing skirts, at least in public, because that was one example, but it happened multiple times. Like, whenever I presented the most femme, like wearing skirts, that's when I would get the most misgendered. Where you just like, are you fucking blind? Or are you just an asshole? So, you know, that was cringe. That was embarrassing. So I stopped wearing dresses as often. I started butching it up a bit. You know, switched to wearing shorts. Put away the skirts for a while. Maybe I'll start wearing them again when I, you know, pass a little more. I'll probably never pass in this neighborhood, but you get the idea. Maybe, like, the further along I am in my medical transition, further along I am on HRT, maybe wearing a skirt won't register as trying too hard. Because, yeah, it had the opposite effect. So I stopped doing that. Oh, by the way, this was my last selfie before starting HRT. This was like September of 2024. I started HRT on February 12th of 2025. So this was like 5 or 6 months, give or take, before starting HRT. So, it was starting to get cold around that. It was starting to, the weather was starting to cool off. So it was like my last selfie out, just standing outside wearing, a smaller amount of clothes than I would in the winter. So I took a little selfie hiatus until this one. This is my first selfie after starting HRT. Might have been like March, the following month. I don't notice any facial differences in this one yet. But when I looked at one of my old streams, like, I think it was an unlisted stream, but basically like 3 months into HRT, excuse me, my face was already starting to change on that stream, and I was surprised when I looked at it. But yeah, this was a little before that. This was probably like, during the first month or so. Nothing noticeable yet. Or, there could have been something a little different, but just not enough to notice. Like, it could have just been the angle, like I was laying down, so it's like my face was kind of looking a little bit thinner naturally just from gravity. But something's a little different. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe you don't see it, but something's a little different. There's like a glint in my eye, or maybe my skin's a little brighter, or maybe it's just the lighting. I don't know, but like something's different, and it's gonna start getting more and more different. This was probably 3 months into HRT. slowly just slowly starting to get in my, just take over. There we go. So I'd given up on being a femboy, and I was starting to fall into the tomboy look, which I eventually kind of settled on for now. And, typical early transition behaviors, you go through your hyper femme phase. I look at it as experimenting with different styles, and I just eventually found one that works for me, which is the tomboy look. But this is not at all to mock early transition behaviors or early transition fashion sense. Like, the Amazon basics type shit, like, rock that shit. If you're into it, rock it. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. Don't let anyone, don't let any, like, don't let other trans people, like, shame you out of it. Like, there's some trans people on the internet, on social media, who mock early transition behaviors and fashion. And they try to act like they're all better than those, baby transes. you know, who do all that cringe stuff, like the Amazon Basics starter pack type shit. I'm not on that bullshit. If you want to rock that, rock it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a legit look. It's a legit fashion style. It's not just reserved for like early trans behavior. If you want to stick with it, stick with it. It's valid. And you're valid. Never forget that. Me personally, though, I settled on the tomboy. So, you know, rocking the short shorts with the thigh highs and, but, you know, kind of a simple sort of, you know, butch kind of, you know, t-shirt. Just, I don't know. Not as hyper femme, just, you know, tomboy. Whew. I love this one. I look dyky as fuck in this one. Like, I was smirking down at the camera, just kind of like amused at this little coffee stain that I got on me, because like, the idea was like, oh, I'm gonna wear white today, and my coffee was like, the fuck you are. So, of course, you know, this happened. So I'm just kind of looking down like, look at that bullshit. But the way I'm staring down in this camera with this like sexy smirk, I was feeling that shit. I like this. I like this black fucking, you know, like this black Frisco dyke look. I love it. It's like, come here, baby. Let me whisper something sweet to you. I don't know. That's my best like seductive line. Like I just got this seductive look, and I love it. Those coffee colored lips. Oh, look at me. I'm fucking sexy as hell. You know, I don't care. I'm conceited. I'm vain. I don't give a fuck anymore. You're not supposed to. Like, it used to low-key bug me a little bit when I would see girls, like, you know, quote-unquote, being conceited. You know, I thought it was a little bit, you know, childish and, you know, a little conceited, but now I get it. Now I fucking get it. Like, once that euphoria hits, like, there is no turning back. Boob growth. This was the first selfie where, like, I was noticeably, like, my boobs were getting noticeable. Like, I first noticed the boob growth, and I was flaunting it. Like, you could tell I'm, like, huffing my chest out, like, you see these, right? You see these? Getting real fucking boobs now, not just moobs. I ain't on that femboy shit no more. These are boobs. With a B. So yeah, leaning even more into the tomboy look. Love it. I love this tank top. I love this shirt. You can see my patch on my left shoulder right there. A little more femme in this one. Got the pink, got the like slightly more femme like hairdo. I don't know. Sometimes I go back and forth. You know, like it's whatever. Like I'm still gonna get misgendered anyway, so who gives a fuck, right? Might as well just have fun with it. Oh, there we go. Just it's working. It's in there. It's flowing through the veins. Like we're getting there. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting there, all right. Like I'm just, I'm out of control here. Like I'm hot as fuck. You can't tell me shit. I'm just like, you know, you want this. I want this. I'd fuck me. And I could actually genuinely say that now. I'd fuck me now. Wow. Like, I used to feel so cringe saying that. And just like, oh, God, you know, I'm like, I'm not the type of person who's supposed to say that. Like, I'm a guy. I'm supposed to. I can't be too expressive. I have to fucking I can't think I'm too cute because that's that's gay shit. Even though I'm gay, I was so fucked up. Anyway, yeah, you just I'm just fucking high as hell on this drug. This is another one of my favorite selfies where I'm just like, when was this? I was probably like 4 months into HRT. My skin is starting to soften a little bit. My face is starting to oval out. Something about this smile, like I look so joyful. And I was caught out in the rain. And I was just kind of like, amused at that. And I was just kind of like smiling, like, look at this bullshit. Look at me. I'm fucking caught out in the rain. But if you compare this look to how I looked in that one where, one of those last few man selfies where I was just like, saw that pain in my eyes and I'm just like barely holding it together. You compare that to this? I look so joyful. Like, I look so happy. I'm just like, I really fucking did the right thing for myself by like all starting with this makeover. This I was onto something. Like, it led to me like it started with a makeover. Now I'm fucking 4 months on HRT. Just fucking looking happy as shit. Like, that's beautiful. I like this photo. There's me in the mirror, still kind of on that tomboy shit. I mean, I'm still on it. I'm talking like I got off it. But now, it's summer of what? Yeah, it's summer of 2025. It's getting warm out. I'm just like, oh yeah, it was already warm out. It was already humid. Because this was actually a hot day. And it was just like raining. But it wasn't cold at all. So, I'm in a tank top here. Or sleeveless there. Nice little outfit here. Nice little green sleeveless and got the camo short shorts, little garter belt right there. That was a nice one. Yeah, this one I was feeling that outfit and I was feeling myself. I was just like, that's right. I don't have a clever line for that, but I was just like, yeah. And yeah, that might have been like 5 months or so, 6 months. I'm not sure. This, I think, was 6-ish months. Like, my hair was getting longer, and something about my smile in this one, I was just, like, it caught me off guard. Like, I looked at it, and I was just like, That's a different smile than I've ever done before. Like, I look different. Like, something about my... Like, it was one of those major moments where I was just starting noticing my face change. Couldn't really put my finger on how, but, like, my smile was different. And it was actually cute. So I was just like, wow. This shit's working. Okay, and this, I think I used this pic for my official, like, 6-month before after photos. I think it was a post on Blue Sky or something. But yeah, this was officially like 6 months into HRT. My face, it kind of looked like my face thinned out, but I think it was just forming. Like it kind of went through a brief thin phase, and now it's like it kind of filled out more. Like it's rounder now than it was thin. Even though it looked more feminine than it did before I started. Like, it was... Yeah, I don't know what point I'm trying to make, but yeah. It's like it thinned out and then blew... It thinned out and then filled out. As weird as that sounds. But, you know, fat redistribution... Little non-linear at times, but whatever. This was maybe 6 to 8 months into it. As you can see, my boobs are, you know, obvious. Like, I don't know what cup size that is, but they're obvious. Like, they're showing. This is a 3-make to that one pic where I was wearing this outfit. This is like what I look like, you know, probably 6 to 8 months into HRT doing that same like pose where like first I was all young and cute when I was 25, and then I was like looking all old, bloated, and unkempt when I was 30, doing that, trying to do that same pose, but looking sadder. This one, I look happier, you know, lower weight, obviously, smoother skin. I look more like I did when I was 25. And I even found that old outfit, or at least the shirt and the t-shirt. By the way, when I found those shirts to put them back on for that picture, they were unwashed. And it still had my man body odor on it. It fucking reeked. Like, it was strong as hell. Like, I did not know I smelled that bad. Granted, it could have been like, you know, residue from like maybe a really bad day where like I probably was just like in hermit mode for a while, so I didn't have any reason to go out, so I would just like, you know, sit around the house all day and stink. So it might have been from that. But the point is, it still had my male body odor on it. And it was like, wow, I did not know I smelled that bad. As a guy. And even when I was like, you know, on top of it and like showering every day, like I shower. You know what? I showered more back then, more often than I do now, because I had to. Because showering every day, back then, I would still stink by the end of the day. My armpits would stink. My dick would stink. Like, I would just get body odor. Like, I was a stinky guy. Like, I had really high testosterone. And like daily showering just did not fully get rid of it. Like I don't know how else to explain it. So I yeah, I just reeked of body odor. And it was all over those clothes. I had to wash them before wearing them. And it was just like it just blew my mind how bad it smelled. And it just reminded me of that male body odor that I was so used to. And not having smelled it for so long and not being used to it anymore. Like I don't know how people never see like it like there were times when I, was out in public interacting with people, and there were times when I would go out stinky because I was depressed. I was, I didn't give a fuck. So I just like I was fucked up. I was in that zone. So I don't know how other people could stand it because it was so strong. And no one ever like I was only told once at a job that my armpits stank, and somebody like brought me a stick of deodorant, and I was like, oh shit, sorry. And but most of the time no one ever told me I stank. It's like, how did y'all tolerate that shit? This shit is fucking rank. Anyway, I washed the clothes, I put back on the shirts, I did that pose, and I fucking knocked it out of the park. Yeah. Don't know where else I was going with that, but yeah, it's a nice little Easter egg there. Um, hopefully this is not too lewd for Twitch. I'm not gonna leave the VOD up. I'm also recording this, so this will be on YouTube. I could get away with this on YouTube, but yeah, this isn't meant to be lewd. It's just meant to show the progress and how happy I was about it. Like I was finally starting to get, you know, like a little bit of like valley edge here. Just that valley. Not quite cleavage, but it's thickening up, towards the middle here. It's like there's something to look down at. And I was so proud of that. That was another like landmark moment. I was like, this shit's fucking working. In this pick, this was the first pick where I noticed for sure, like without a doubt, that my face was softening. So I like this one. I'm proud of it. Looks a little weird in this resolution that I'm showing it in on screen, but all my picks, like, they all look better on the phone. I don't know what it is, like, with my selfies where they all look fine on the phone, but, like, once they're blown up on, like, a big desktop screen, blown up in, like, the highest HD, fucking 720p or 1080p or whatever, they start looking, excuse me, they start looking weird. Anyway, but yeah, this is another pick I'm proud of. Face was softening. Oh god, I'm just like, look at this girl. Who is that? That ain't me, is it? Yeah, that's me. Looking all fucking like $1,000,000. Just like I'm just killing it. Got them fire ass braids, fucking like got that one like going down there, and I'm just like, I got that middle aged earthy dyke look. I love it. And by the way, I'm reclaiming that word. I am very sapphic myself, so I can say it. If you're not one, don't fucking say it or I'll kill you. Anyway. Yeah, love this one. There's another one, you know, lips parted. I think I was on my way to the dispensary on a unseasonably warm day. It was like, when was this? This was, it was like October of 25 of last year. So I'm probably like 8 to 10 months, or yeah, probably 8 months into HRT, and just like, you know, approaching the year mark, and I'm just looking more and more fire. Like, look at me. That's fucking me. And I'm just like, I'm still looking. I'm not like trying to get through it all fast. I'm not like tolerating. I'm like, I'm addicted to how I look now. That is such a weird feeling in a good way. Like, it's so contrary to what I used to feel looking at myself. Yeah, there's my patch apply. You know, applying my patch. This is my Monday patch. You know, Mondays are for shoulders, and then Thursdays are for hips. So this was a Monday, and I think I joke. It was a blue sky post, and I was joking like, but what if I'm faking it? I'm fucking putting on a patch. I'm faking it. Sure, sure. Again, femboys on HRT are valid. Totally fucking valid. Do not get me wrong. I'm talking strictly me personally. In my case, it was coke. But, you know, it's just a joke here. Like, I'm already fucking too far gone. Like, I'm not faking it. But, you know, but what if I am? What if I just think I'm not faking it? Maybe I'm just an ally showing solidarity or something, right? Whatever. Yeah, now we're getting up till, this was probably a month ago, I guess. But yeah, we're approaching the year mark. Have I covered everything? Euphoria despite still not passing in public. Yeah, I did mention I still get misgender a fuck ton. Like, I personally think I pass as a woman now. Not a cis woman, but a woman. Like, you know, I'm feminine coded enough. Like, I pass as a woman. But to this day, I've still only been gender correctly twice. That's it. Twice. And during this whole year. Twice. Both times after the 6-month mark. But still not nearly often enough. Like, I do not care if some fucking troll wants to come up in the comments trying to say, oh, you still look like a dude. Fuck you. I look like a fucking woman because I am one, goddammit. And I pass. To me personally, I pass. But to strangers in public, I'll probably never pass. Because these people around here, they just see what they want to see. Like, none of the methods work. Like, trying to be hyper femme doesn't work. Trying to femme it down, do reverse psychology, that doesn't work. Like, the goalpost always moves out of reach, depending on who it is on any given day. It could be my height, it could be my shoulders, it could be like maybe my skin is still too rough. It could be Adam's apple. It could be anything. It's usually before I start talking, so you can't blame it on my clocky voice. They're basing it on secondary sex characteristics, not how you present. It doesn't matter how you present here. They base it on secondary sex characteristics. So you could present as feminine as fuck. You could present as a woman, basically. But if you're tall like me, if you have like my, even though I'm probably getting curvier, I'm probably still built like, I probably still have broad enough shoulders to be, read as male. Whatever the fuck it is. Like, it's always some stupid fucking minuscule shit that, some isolated shit that you gotta squint to look for, to notice. Because overall, when you look at the whole package, I'm woman as fuck. But these strangers in public in my area, they be like, oh, fucking, something about your nose, something about your chin. Man, how you doing, sir? Like, these people are morons. I mean, yes, it's a blue state. Yes, we have informed consent here for HRT. Like, it's very, it's progressively policied in a lot of ways. Like, it's not a red state. But socially, on a person-to-person level, these people are fucking morons. They are ignorant as hell. Trans people don't exist. If you're visibly trans at all, you're assigned gender at birth, regardless. If there's like any one little drop of assigned gender at birth that they can see, you're just that assigned gender at birth. Any one little drop of maleness. It could be like, me wearing a coat, a winter coat on a cold winter day. Big coats kind of make you look big and manly, right? Even if it's a woman's coat. I can't wear winter coats without looking like a dude. I got clocked today at fucking some restaurant that I, got food at. At the same place where I got gender correctly for the second time by some other employee. But I wasn't so lucky this time. So, yeah, like, unless life surprises me, I will probably always get misgendered until I move to a better area where people are more knowledgeable and worldly about, they know queer people exist, they know trans people exist, they know a feminine coded person when they see one, and they know enough to think like, this person is presenting as a woman, maybe they want to be referred to as one. That'll probably never happen here in this area. I'm shit out of luck. But I'm fucking hot. And I don't give a fuck. So yeah, that's it. That's where I'm at with that. It's fucking annoying. I hate it. I hate these fucking stupid ass people, but I'm stuck with them. So I gotta deal with it. This was another. What was I doing? Yeah, I was waiting for my coffee water to boil here, and then this was after I made the coffee. Then I got my little that's mix on the screen. That's the software I use to mix tracks, make mixtapes with. So if you've like heard any of those mixtapes I've done on my channel, this is what I use, by the way. Oh, Camp Crystal Lake shirt. Uh, I was I like that shirt. I was proud of that. So I was trying to show that off. Another one up in the kitchen waiting for the coffee water to boil. And this is Hip Day, a Thursday. You know, applying my patch of solidarity. Still sis though. Still an ally. Even though I'm getting a better ass now, finally. Like starting to lose that box shape. Like you still see that look like that little hump, on the up top. I still got a double ass, but the lower one's filling out, even to the point of having that little like underwear crease toward the bottom. I'm proud of that. This shit's working. Like it's filling me out. It's giving me an ass. Like I'm excited to see what comes in the future. And this is me this morning. Actually, I'm lying. It was a couple days ago. I took these in advance. Just, just to get it over with. Yeah, I took these in advance, rounded off a couple days to February 12th, which was technically yesterday now. Wow, it's fucking 4 in the morning. How long have I been going? Almost 4 hours. Wow, I need to wrap this up. So yeah, we're about at the end. These are my 1 year anniversary selfies. Yeah, leaning back. Yeah, I'm killing it. I'm fucking killing it. And I think this was later that later that day. Again, a couple days ago. It was either later that day or yesterday. Um, Snowy day out, cold day out, the sun came out, and I'm just like, and that sunlight's creating heat, and I'm just like enjoying the heat. It's a nice little relief from the cold, shitty days we've been having. But yeah, that can also work as like a symbolic photo symbolizing euphoria. Like, look how far I've come. I'm just like so happy and just like, yeah, whatever. You get the idea. So, final thoughts. Final thoughts. Do I have any final thoughts? Not really. I'm bad with outros too. I'm bad with intros and outros. I never have like a speech prepared or anything. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another one of these in a year. I guess we'll see. But yeah, this is a nice one to end off on. Uh, it's 4 in the morning. I have not eaten dinner yet. I am going to go have me a girl dinner, probably something quick and easy to heat up. I'm gonna go to bed. And I'm starting to get sleepy from this prog. So I'm gonna let that do its thing. I'm gonna call it a stream, call it a video. If anyone's still there, thanks for watching and listening and taking this journey with me. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching to the end. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye.